Hi everyone, this is Paul here for the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm doing an astrology report for the full moon in Virgo, which takes place on Tuesday the 19th of February at 3:53 p.m. Universal Time. I'll be outlining some of the key aspects and themes that this particular full moon highlights to us and giving an overview of what it means. Before I do that though, I just want to clarify, as I always do, that the astrology doesn't control our lives. It gives us a framework to help us understand what's unfolding around us. So it highlights what key lessons are there for us to be learning, what are the key opportunities for growth, but for it to actually be incorporated into our own lives, it requires that we take action based on the information it provides to us, and we have to take responsibility for our lives and our choices at the same time. Otherwise, if we don't take responsibility and we don't take action, we don't grow from it as a result. Now, in terms of this full moon in Virgo, this full moon consists of the Sun in Pisces opposite the Moon in Virgo. The lunations, whether they be new or full moons, are always named after the sign the Moon is in as opposed to the Sun. So the full moon in Virgo is an opportunity to reflect on how well we balance Virgo and Pisces. Pisces, which is the theme that we're exploring via the Sun for a month, is all about that higher consciousness. It's about spiritual health, it's spiritual love, it's compassion, psychic sensitivity at the high end, and on the low end it's about addiction, escapism, illusion, deception. So this is the key duality, for light, that we need to be dealing with at this time. And at the height, so ideally we want to be pushing for that spiritual love, that unconditional love, and it's about that union between self and source, or self and God, and whichever terms you feel most comfortable with. Virgo, on the other hand, it brings us that practical discrimination, because Pisces doesn't have boundaries, so it doesn't set them as such. So as a result, it allows for a lot of manipulation to take place. Virgo, on the other hand, is about establishing boundaries. It's about the order to Pisces' chaos. It's about the practical discrimination versus that desire to love unconditionally and to unite with other people. So Virgo is about balancing Pisces, whilst Pisces softens the energy of Virgo. Virgo also uses the vehicle of service as an antidote for suffering. So with Pisces, there could be a lot of old issues coming up. Virgo gives us that practical focus to keep us grounded and help us through the healing process, because both signs deal with healing, and together they represent that holistic healing of body, mind and soul. So Virgo deals with the body and the mind, Pisces deals with soul, spirit and that source energy. So Virgo reminds us that in order for healing to be fully facilitated, we have to be grounded in the present moment. We can't be lofting around in illusions or in fantasies. We actually have to keep both feet on the ground. So at the higher level, it is about that being in the world but not of it. But without that Virgo and energy of practicality, the energy of Pisces doesn't get applied to anything, as it were. So Virgo also deals with the health of the body through like the daily routines that we establish. So it reminds us that, as nice as it is to do all this meditation and feel this unconditional love and compassion, we also need to make sure that we keep the body and mind strong through having regular exercise, through having a healthy conscious diet, so eating the right kind of foods that keep us grounded rather than foods that scatter energies and have addictive qualities. Sugar comes to mind in this instance. So it's eating those grounding foods that nourish the body and keep it in good working order, and it's about having sufficient daily exercise and taking responsibility for the practicalities of daily life that keep us grounded and keep us based in the present moment. So in essence, the full moon is asking us to remain grounded and keep both feet on the ground. Don't go wafting off into illusions or fantasies, because they're not going to serve us in any way. And it's also by being grounded and in the body, that energy of Pisces can then flow through the body, heal the body in the process. So that's that spiritual healing that brings balance to body, mind and soul, and that energy can then flow out through us through practical action So Virgo takes that energy of love and compassion and converts it into acts of service. So it's translating love into service, because service at its highest level is love in action. It's all well and good feeling love and compassion for someone, but for anything to actually change in that respect, sometimes we have to take practical action, and sometimes that practical action is that tough love. So we love that person very dearly, but we have to set boundaries and make it clear that there are consequences for behaving irresponsibly or not taking care of ourselves, and it's setting those necessary boundaries so that we don't get drained by interactions with other people, because we're not setting healthy boundaries and make it clear where the lines are and what we will accept and what we won't accept. Because there's often this misconception in boundaries, setting boundaries with people isn't loving. It may not feel nice doing it, but if we don't set those boundaries, at some level we're sending the message that it's okay for people to use us, it's okay for people to drain our energy in order to make themselves feel better. So they may walk away feeling great and we feel drained from it. So Virgo reminds us, no, set boundaries with the people who are users in that respect, or people who are irresponsible, because otherwise how are we going to help the people who are genuinely seeking help and genuinely want to better this situation and just need that kind of loving assistance to show them how they can help themselves. So translating love into service at its highest level is about helping the other person to help themselves. It's not just helping the other person and not showing them how to do things themselves. That's just called enabling, and it doesn't help either party. If we show someone how they can help themselves, that is true service, that is true love in action, because allowing that person to take responsibility for their own lives and empowering them to free themselves from their own past. Now, in terms of the rule of this particular full moon, which is Mercury is in a conjunction with Neptune, so both of them are in Pisces. So Piscean energy will be dominating this particular full moon, and that Mercury in conjunction with Neptune is about bringing the left and right brains together so the two operate simultaneously. It's also dissolving some of the artificial boundaries the mind maintains in order to see things at a more holistic or interconnected way. So it's a more systemic perception, and it's opening the intellect up to a vision of the higher potentials. The intellect can never hold on to it, because the higher truths, or the true nature of reality, which is so powerful that the human mind wouldn't be able to handle it constantly. We need breaks from it. But Mercury's in Pisces is about bringing the intellect into alignment with our intuition, our psychic sensitivity. So this further enhances the theme of balancing left and right brain thinking, of bringing reason and intuition together rather than seeing them as opposites or fighting one another. It's allowing them to complement rather than contradict one another. Other aspects to this particular full moon will be, we have Uranus in Aries at the moment, but obviously moving to Taurus next month, and Mars, who's just moved into Taurus. They're both in a sextile to the Sun and trine to the Moon. So these two together bring insights in from the higher mind via Uranus about how we need to empower ourselves. But whilst Mars in Taurus is about having that patience in our actions, it's about cultivating devotion as opposed to just desire for material gain or pursuing base desires. It's about elevating that. So Mars and Uranus bring both insights from the higher mind and the action and desire function as an outlet to help channel the energy of the full moon through our actions, and not just trying to resolve the intuition or the opposition that way. We also have Pallas Athena, who just turned retrograde on the 17th in a trine to the Sun and sextile to the Moon. So it's obviously an out of sign trine sextiles, but they're still pretty potent either way. And Pallas Athena further highlights the necessity of the attitude of balance, so the yin and the yang. And it's also that healing through, could be like Tai Chi, could be about resolving that yin and yang within us. And it's about fostering diplomacy as well. So and seeking that internal balance. So the more we create balance on the inside, rather than trying to make it happen on the outside, the easier it becomes to heal, because we balance the masculine and feminine energies within us. The body can more readily allow energy to flow through it, as it were, because there's no imbalances creating blockages. So this particular full moon has potential for a lot of healing to be achieved with it, but it also requires that we be fundamentally honest with ourselves, and that we recognise where we do have a tendency to use escapism illusion, and where we do tend to either rely on logic, intuition, or rely too much on logic and reason, or if we rely on intuition and psychic sensitivity, but it's not balanced by logic to see how to apply it. Because logic and reason, it allows us to see how do we apply the insights coming in through the intuition. So the two need to be working hand in hand rather than fighting against one another. So it's important we don't invalidate our intuitions with reason and logic, but it's also important we don't just go along with intuition without thinking about things rationally as to what the wisest course of action is. So when reason and intuition come together, the power of the mind is enhanced, as opposed to being diminished through dissolving into conflict between reason and intuition. And it's also bringing that body, mind and soul unity together, so it's healing both sides simultaneously. Because when we have that internal union, the level of love and compassion that we can radiate outwards, it gets far more powerful, and it can affect a lot more people at the same time without us being drained, because it's the energy flowing through us that's doing it, rather than us having to expend personal energy in order to create that. And it's also allowing that wisdom flowing through to show us exactly what course of action will empower someone and allow them to break free of any illusions that they're labouring under, in order to then start doing what's necessary in their own lives to clear the past and become grounded in the present, so they can then take full and conscious responsibility for their lives. So there's quite a lot going on with this particular full moon. It is a particularly powerful one, but the main thing to, as I said, the main thing to remember is that balance between body, mind and soul, and bring the three together as tight as union as possible, so that we operate from a holistic level of health, which makes us less likely to succumb to illness. Also means we're less likely to succumb to any kind of illusions which bring us down, and we're empowered to operate with clarity of thought and clear intuition, so that we can take the right course of action at any given point, guided by that psychic awareness and that reason that avoids us from doing something that isn't particularly wise at that particular point in time. So may the full moon bring you many new insights and an opportunity for a deep level of healing. Take care and be blessed.